My name is Mario. I am a running coach. I've been coaching runners for an extended period of time. Say a little bit, about 12 years, I would say. I also work in the medical field too as well, and I see runners with running issues. Again, most of the complaint tends to be the knees or the hips, but mostly the knees. So I run 5Ks to ultras. I do triathlons, short, medium, and long distance. I do them all. And on top of that, I had my share of running pain and running issues, particularly the knee issues. Okay, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have had some kind of knee pain or knee issues. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here right now, right? So now I didn't always start running. I ran, yeah, I did, but I never ran competitively until my junior year in high school. And that's when things kind of started for me, as in me getting involved in running. But it wasn't by choice, because at that time I was a junior in high school and I was playing football. And the football coach told us all that, in order for us to get better in football, we need to participate in other sports, such as soccer or track, because that will help us condition ourselves to be better athletes in football by cross-training with other sports and disciplines. So he saw the way I was running and he said, you know what, you need to start doing track. Matter of fact, you should do the long distance, the 1 mile, the 2 mile. And basically told me that if I don't do that, I'm not going to be able to play football the following year. But because I wanted to play football, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do track. So that's when my running career kind of started. And during that time, yeah, the running coach would teach us how to run, not anything technical, because again, we're distance runners, so it's a little bit different than your sprinters. But he'll have us run distances, run hills. He did have us run little intervals around the track, like 1 lap, and he would try to get us to run under 75 seconds or 75 seconds. The reason behind that is because if you could do 4 sets of 75 seconds, that's a 5-minute mile pace. Now, we strive to do that, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down to 5-minute mile pace. I came close, but not quite there. But anyways, after high school, I did take a break. I didn't go straight to college or anything like that. I was kind of being a little bit of a bum. But I did continue on running, but I was mostly focusing on weightlifting and things of that sort at that time. After about a year of taking a break from high school, I did go to college for a little bit, but then I decided this wasn't for me, and I joined the military. And when I joined the military, that's when things started changing a little bit for me, as in for the amount of running I was doing. And when I was in the military, I started having a little bit of issues with my knee. And when I had that issue with my knee, of course, they would send me to medical, and the doctor would check out my knee, examine it, they did some x-rays, and they say, oh, you have knee pain. And they'll give me some medication, and I'll take the medication, the irritation, the pain will go away, and they'll give me maybe some like light duty or tell me not to run for a couple days, and then I'll go back to normal training. All right. So that kind of kept on repeating over and over and over throughout my military career, where I continued to saw the doctor for knee pain and knee issues. But it got to a point where I was doing this repetitive motion of seeing medical. They tell me the same thing. You have knee pain, knee swelling. They call it bursitis. I had bursitis in my knee, so they'll give me anti-inflammatory medication and give me some days off of running, and I'll go back to running and doing the training. All right. So I kind of got a little bit frustrated with this cycle of, seeing the doctor, giving me medication. They would do x-rays and they wouldn't see anything. They would just tell me I have bursitis. So at that time, in the early stages of my military career, I was going back to school, but I was going back to school to become a physical therapist. And I was taking a lot of kinesiology and exercise science and learning about, balancing the muscles, strengthening the muscles, stretching them out, things of that sort. So what I did with that knowledge is I basically created my own rehab program to get my knee better so it would quit hurting on me. Because going to the doctor wasn't doing anything but just treating the symptoms and taking care of the pain for a short period of time. But again, because I was taking those courses, I was realizing that in order to get out of pain, you need to strengthen things out. So I did. So I created a program. It took me about 6 months of rigorous rehab, what I call rehab for myself, to get out of pain, and it helped. It worked. I wasn't having any more knee issues anymore. The pain gone away, and I was able to run without much issues. But in the military, you're only at certain duty stations for a period of time, and then they send you off to another duty station. And that's what happened to me. The next duty station that I was sent to was a little bit more intense, I can say. I was no longer running in tennis shoes. I was running in boots with a pack, 50-pound pack, 50-pound pack, even up to a 100-pound pack on my back. On top of that, like I said, I was running in boots, walking in boots in uneven surfaces and things of that sort. So that put a lot of stress on my body. It kind of broke me down, and I started having that knee pain issue again. So I went to medical, and they did the x-ray, they examined me, and they told me, hey, you just have chronic bursitis. You just have bad knees. And I was like, okay. And they gave me medication, they gave me some time off, and I started running to that cycle again, seeing the doctor. They tell me the same thing, give me medication. So basically, I ended up just taking ibuprofen, what we call vitamin M back in the military. So we just kept on popping the pills just for the pain control. It wasn't until this one doctor that saw me, he goes, okay, you know what, you've been dealing with this knee pain for quite some time. Let's go ahead and do an MRI. So I was sent over to get MRI done, and when they did an MRI, all they said was that I had fluid in the knee. And all that means is basically that I had some inflammation of the knee. But structurally, the knee was fine. There was no meniscal tear, there was no tendon tear, there was no ligament tears, everything's fine, the muscle's fine. The knee's fine. So they said, well, take some anti-inflammatories, we'll give you some days off. So that's what I did. But one thing I will mention is that, you know, if you, in the military, if you go to the clinic over and over and over, they kind of start eyeballing you and start thinking, now, is he really having pain? Is he really having that much issue? Or is he trying to get out of deployment, or is he trying to get out of training and things of that sort? Well, myself, I'm not one of those type of people. So I didn't want to be labeled as a, what they call malingerer, or somebody who's trying to get out of doing their job. So because of that, I was like, you know what? Every time I go to the doctor, they tell me the same thing. You have bursitis, swelling of the knee, and here's some anti-inflammatories. Take it, and that's about it, and rest. So I was like, you know what? Just give me the anti-inflammatories. I'll just push through the pain. I'll just deal with the swelling. I'll just take the anti-inflammatories. They'll go down, and I'll just do the training, you know, or the mission or the deployments that we go on. And I did that for many years. Now, once I got out of the military, my body took some beatings, and because it took some beatings, it was pretty bad, especially my knees. It was so bad that if I took a wrong step, my knee would blow up like a balloon, right? So because it blew up like a balloon, it was so swollen that I could not even bend my knee. And because I couldn't even bend my knee, I couldn't even walk. And that pressure in my knee was so intense that it created pain, like severe pain. And it was debilitating. And again, because my knee took such a hit, it didn't take much. Like one time I got out of bed and I stepped the wrong way and my knee swelled up like a balloon. Just like that. And I wasn't even running. I didn't jump. I didn't do anything. I just stepped out of the bed the wrong way. So that's how sharp my knees were at that time. So again, this was after the military. So I went ahead and went to the doctors because I'm like, you know, there has to be something more going on. So they did the x-rays and they did the imaging, and they told me, no, you just got bad knees. You have fluid in the knees, and you shouldn't be running. And I was like, well, what will happen if I continue on running? Well, they told me that because the knees are so bad that soon enough you're going to be developing arthritis in the knee, and that's going to cause more pain, and it's going to have bone-on-bone grinding, and you're not going to be able to walk in your early 40s or 50s. And I was like, whoa, you know, that's not for me. I want to be able to walk when I'm older. Yet alone, I want to be able to run. So I didn't run for a while. But, you know, if you're a runner like me and you do these distances and stuff like that, you can't stay still for very long. So I started getting that itch, like, you know, I need to run. Because if I don't run, it's kind of like my way of de-stressing and dealing with life, and it helps me. It makes me feel good, right? I'm pretty sure you guys feel the same way. And because of that, I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna start running again. So I started running again, and then my knee started swelling, and it's like, you know, it was frustrating. But at that time, I did have the capacity to go to the gym because I was going back to college. And when I was going back to college, I used the gym, and I basically did that 6-month rehab again. And I got my knee to a point where the pain wasn't completely gone, but it was bearable where I can deal with it and continue on running. Now, because I was able to deal with the running, it allowed me to start running a little bit more than I was before. After about a year or two, I finished my undergrad, and then I started going to PA school. And when I went to PA school, I was learning now the medical aspect of pain and injuries and things of that sort. And what I was noticing is that because of that, I was seeing that the system for us runners who deal with chronic knee pain, that it's not set up for us. It's not set up for us to have a way to deal with our pain for the long term. The medical system is basically set up for us to deal with the severe issues. You know, the meniscus tear, the tendon tear, or the ligament tears. And on top of that, the doctors who would like to help us, they don't have time to see us. And I was realizing that because I was seeing patients. And I had a schedule to keep, and I would have between 6 to 15 minutes per patient. So again, the system's not set up for helping us runners deal with that, our running pain. So realizing that, and I was thinking about, you know, the education I had with the exercise science exercise science and the kinesiology, and about building strength and things of that sort, that I was like, you know what if I combine the two, you know, the exercise science and the medical aspect, because the medical aspect allowed me to understand the inflammatory process, the injury process, the repair process of muscle injuries and joint injuries and things of that sort. So I started combining the two and designing programs for myself to get my knee better and preventing that knee from ever flaring up again. I wasn't the best because I was just putting this stuff together at the beginning. But then I started doing more research. I started looking at peer review articles and researching particularly, you know, knee pain and running, and what they do and what they expect and what's going on with the runner's knee. So again, during that time when I was going to PA school, I also joined a running club. And during my time with the running club, you know, I was running, training for the half marathons and full marathons. And when I was doing that, you know, I was running into that knee issue type of thing, and I would try to rehab myself and kind of deal with it. But over time, I became more proficient at, you know, designing running programs for myself, in addition to using the running club's design for getting you prepared for half marathons and full marathons, and preventing injury for myself. And in the running club, I actually started moving through the process of becoming a participant, and then I became an assistant pace coach, and then I moved on to becoming an assistant speed and hill coach to the head coach of the speed and hills, and then eventually at the end, I became the head coach of their advanced training program. And during that whole process, I was involving both that medical aspect and the kinesiology and physical exercise science portion to create these programs to kind of enhance their program that they had in order to prevent injuries for the runners I was training at that time. And I kept on fine-tuning it to the point of where, you know, I was minimizing the pain and discomfort and injuries that were occurring with these runners that were participating in these running clubs activities. So that's kind of where I ended up being, and that's where I am right now. I still currently coach the advanced training program for that running group. I enjoy it quite a bit. So now you know a little bit about me.